Okay, so we're going to go over Fireball's commands and her collars to show you how you can stay consistent with her once she's back home with you. So her first command is heel. This is loose leash walking on your left hand side. So you're going to want Fireball right next to your leg, kind of paying attention to you and walking at your pace. She's not allowed to wander in front of you or to the side anymore, pull you on that leash. She's supposed to be right next to you now, paying attention and walking at your pace. So that is heel or loose leash walking. Again, you want her right next to you, paying attention to you. Her next command is a sit stay. So you'll ask Fireball to sit. Once she's in that sit, you're just going to remind her sit before you walk away to do anything. She's expected to stay in that sit until you release her. We don't say stay because that's one more word that Fireball has to put in her vocabulary. So we're just going to remind her to sit before we walk away when we want to make her stay in this sit. So again, you'll ask Fireball to sit. Then if you wanted to walk away from her to go do something, maybe put your shoes or a jacket on, you're just going to remind her sit before you walk away. That just helps her remember what she's doing and know that she's still supposed to be sitting there even though you're leaving her. So again, you'll just remind her sit before you walk away. And then when you want to release Fireball from that sit, you're going to use the word free to let her know that she is free to get up or come with you, but you want to go all the way back to her to use that word with her. That way she doesn't get too excited when you walk in the room and gets up too early, different things like that. So you'll ask Fireball to sit. You'll remind her sit to let her know she's supposed to stay in the sit when you walk away. And then when you want to release her, you're going to go all the way back to her, maybe reward her with a treat, good sit, and then you can release her by saying free or heel if you wanted her to walk with you somewhere. So that is her sit stay. Her next command is a down stay. So you're going to ask Fireball to go into a down by saying down, and then same as the sit stay, you're just going to remind her down when you want her to stay there. Then you can go do your own thing, and then you want to go all the way back to Fireball to release her again by saying free or heel, whatever you wanted her to do next. So again, down, remind her down to get her to stay in that down when you leave her, and then go all the way back to her to reward and release her. So that is a down stay. Her next command is a place stay. So unlike the sit stay and the down stay, Fireball's now on an elevated boundary, helps her a little bit more understand the boundaries and where she's supposed to be staying at, but also gives her a little more freedom to kind of move around, maybe have some toys or treats. She can be standing, sitting, or laying down. She doesn't have to always go into a sit or always go into a down when she's on there. Usually she gets up there and takes a nap though. So you'll send or walk Fireball to place. And then same as the sit stay and the down stay, you're just going to remind her place before you walk away from her. And then she's expected to stay on that bed until you come back to release her. Again, she can sit, stand, move around a little bit, lay down. As long as she's staying on the bed, she's not being destructive and she's being quiet. Those are pretty much the only rules while she's on that bed. Again, she can have food, treats, toys on that bed, and she can kind of do her own thing, have a little bit of freedom, but she has that boundary where she has to stay in that location. So that is her place stay. Again, always go back to reward and release her. So as place stay, her next command is come when called or recall. So you let Fireball out to go to the bathroom. Maybe she's in the backyard going to the bathroom and you're ready for her to come back in. That's when you're going to use come when called. So you're going to say come really loud and firm so that Fireball can hear you and know to come back to you. Then I like to take those few steps backwards to welcome her into my space. And then once she's back to me and sitting, I can reward. And then you can free her to let her into the house or heal her if you wanted to have her go do something with you. Different things like that. So that can be used when you let her out to go to the bathroom. If you take her on a walk and maybe there's a fenced in area that you want to let her run around in a little bit, that's when you can say free to release her. And then when you're ready to come back, for her to come back to you, you'll say come to let her know, hey, I let you have your freedom, but now you need to come back into my space. So that is come when called or recall. And then her last command is leave it. This command is going to be used in the future for if you drop a pill on the ground and you don't want Fireball to have that because that's dangerous for her. Maybe you spill something and you don't want her to eat it or drink it. That's what this command is going to be used for. So you want to practice this though with dog safe foods first. That way Fireball's prepared for those other moments. So use chicken, her treats, maybe her food for the day. Use that, practice dropping it on the ground and asking Fireball to leave it. And then I like to reward Fireball from my hand to let her know, hey, you did a good job and left it. Here's your reward. And then you can pick up whatever's on the ground, or you can pick it up and give that to her since she left it, and it's dog safe foods first while we're practicing. But again, dog safe foods first. That way she's prepared for different situations like that in the future where it could be dangerous things that are dropped on the floor. So again, you'll ask Fireball to leave it. Then when she leaves it, you can reward it by something from your hand or pick up what's on the ground to reward her when it's dog safe foods first. Practice this with a leash on in the house first. That way, if she still goes towards it, you have both the remote collar and her leash to pull her away from that. So those are her commands. Again, heel, loose leash walking on our left-hand side, a sit stay, down stay, and a place stay. Again, we repeat those words when we want Fireball to stay instead of saying stay for her. So heel, sit stay, down stay, place stay, come when called, or recall when she's out in the yard or out playing and you're ready for her to come back to you, and then leave it. So those are Fireball's commands. And then we have 2 collars here to use to communicate with Fireball how she's doing. Her first one is going to be her remote collar. So this is the collar that you're going to use for the more off-leash stuff. So to turn this on her collar here, you'll see underneath, this side has her name, and then this other side here has a little line, and then it has a red dot. We're going to use that little red dot to turn on her collar. So then on the remote here, you'll see on the side, there's another small red dot. To turn her collar on, we're going to tap these 2 together until we see that green light flash. That means that your collar is turned on. It's going to flash green every couple seconds to let you know that your collar is on and charged. If it flashes yellow or red, that just means that it needs to be put on the charger for a few hours. Then to turn her remote on the back of the remote, there's an L button in the center here. You're going to press and hold that button until your screen lights up. That's going to light up blue, but that's not going to stay lit up blue. Same as the collar though, this little bar down here is going to flash green every couple seconds to let you know that your remote is on and charged. Then, if Fireball needs a correction, I'm going to use my hand here to demonstrate her neck. If Fireball needs a correction, say she's walking too far ahead of you in a heel. On the side of this remote here, there is a black S button. That is Fireball's correction level. So if she's supposed to be back here and she's up here ahead of you or to the side a little bit, kind of doing her own thing, maybe sniffing a little bit, what you're going to do is say no to warn Fireball that she's making a mistake. Then you're going to press the black S button to let her know that she did an unwanted behavior, communicate with her, and then you're going to remind her of what she's doing. So if she's supposed to be in that heel, no button heel. That's going to communicate with Fireball, hey, you're making a mistake. You get a correction for that mistake. And then I'm going to remind you what you're doing so that you can fix yourself. So that is how to correct her for a heel. Same for her other commands. If she gets up from a sit stay, no, black S button, sit. No, black S button, down. No, black S button, place. Same for recall, no, if she decides not to come back to you. No, black S button, come. If she starts to go towards something that you dropped on the ground and you forgot to put her leash on the first couple times, or maybe further along and you're practicing with her and she looks like she's going to go towards it, no, black S button, leave it. So that's how to correct Fireball with her remote collar. And then the other tool that we have to communicate with Fireball is going to be her prong collar. This is going to sit on Fireball's neck like this. And if Fireball, again, gets too far ahead of you in a heel, instead of using the remote collar, maybe she's on leash and you want to use the leash to correct her, you're going to say no, give her a quick pop, and then release it again and remind her heel. So same concept of the remote collar, except instead of pressing that button, we're giving her a quick pop and release. So if she's too far ahead of you, no, quick pop and release, heel. It may take 1 or 2 pops to get Fireball back. They don't have to be super hard pops, just a firm but quick pop. So no, quick pop and release, heel. Same for her sit stay, except when you want her to go back into a sit, or if she doesn't sit right away when you ask, you're going to say no. Give her a quick pop and release up towards the air and remind her to sit. That's going to communicate with her, hey, you need to sit down. If you want her to lay down and she doesn't listen right away, or if she gets up from a down stay, you're going to do the same thing except in a downward motion now. So no, quick pop and release, down, down. So that's how to correct her for that. If you're doing maybe leave it, you're going to say no, pop and release away from the object that she's going towards, and then remind her leave it. So same for all of her commands. You're going to say no to give her that warning. Then you're going to either follow through with a correction from the leash and the prong collar, or with the remote collar to let her know and communicate with her that she's doing an unwanted behavior. And then you're going to remind her of the command that she was doing or that she was asked and decided not to do. So those are her commands and her collars. At the end of the video, we're going to go over some more features of this remote collar, but for now we're going to show you her commands.
How's it going?
Down. Good job. Good down. Good down. Good girl. Bless you. Good down. Good girl. Good down. Free. Good job.
Sit. Free.
Free.
Leave it. Good job. Let's do it again. Would you? Leave it. Yes. Good girl. Good job. Good girl. Oh, big yawn. Free? Okay. Okay. Good girl. Good job. Free. Want to do one more time? Want to do one more time? One more time. One more time. Leave it. Yes. Good girl. Free. You're free. Okay. Okay. Free. Good girl. Good job. Good girl. What are you doing? Good girl. Good job. Good job. Oh, thanks. Thanks. Free. Play. Good. Good job. Good place. Good place. Place. Girl. Good place. Good girl. Place. Good girl. Good job. Good place. Good job. Good place. Free. Good job. Hey, good job. Girl. Oh, really?
Okay, so now that we've gone over and shown you Fireball's commands, we're gonna go over her collars a little bit more in depth. So for this prong collar, as I showed you, it's gonna sit here on Fireball's neck, and then when you need to give her a correction, you're gonna say no, give her a quick pop and release in the direction that she's supposed to be going, and then you're going to remind her of the command that she is in. To get this on and off of Fireball though, what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold this prong steady, and then you're going to grab the prong that is attached to that, and you're going to pull upward until they come apart. Then to get it back together, you're gonna put one side in, and then this won't just slide through the top here. So what you're gonna have to do is pinch these two together until it fits, and then it'll slide right in for you. This will get easier over time. It'll be difficult trying to figure it out the first couple times, but once she wears it more often and this metal loosens up, it's gonna be a lot easier to get it on and off of her. So again, hold this one steady. It can be any of these prongs, but I like to choose two that are in the middle, not on the ends, near this or down here near these, because that metal's on the end, so it's a little bit thicker. So I like to choose two from the middle. I'll hold one steady, then you hold the other one pretty much the same way, but you're gonna pull up to pull them apart. Then to get it put back together, you're gonna put one side in, maybe, put one side in, pinch the two together, and slide it in. So that is how to take on and off her prong collar. Then for her remote collar here, you can either use the buckle strap or you can use this quick snap little clip here to get it on and off of her. But again, to turn your remote or your collar on and off, you're going to use the two red dots to tap them together. It'll flash that red light when your collar is turned off. And then if you tap them together again, it'll flash the green light to show you that the collar is turned on. Then for her remote, again on the back of this remote, there is that L button in the center. To turn your remote on and off, you press and hold that button. But if you just tap it, it's going to turn on her flashlight feature. This can be used if you let Fireball out at night to go to the bathroom, or maybe you're going on a walk late in the evening. That way you can still see her. So again, press and hold the L button in the center to turn your remote on and off, but just tap it quickly to turn your flashlight on and off. For the flashlight feature to work, I like to make sure when I put this on Fireball that this part that blinks is facing up towards her face. That way when you turn the flashlight feature on, it's pointing up towards her and it's not hidden by all of her hair like it would be if we pointed it down. So I like to again make sure it's pointed up towards her for that flashlight feature. We also, here on the side of the remote, have a black S button. That is again Fireball's correction level. So that is her normal correction that we use when we need to correct her for doing an unwanted behavior. We're going to say no, press the black S button, and then remind her of her command. But right under that black S button is a red S button. You'll see on the screen here that the black S button is level 30 for her. That's what's been working for her. I'll show you here in a minute how to change that if we need to change it. But under that black S button is the red S button. When I press the black S button, that's going to show level 30. But if I press the red S button, that's going to jump Fireball up to level 55. This is what we call her booster emergency feature and can be used if she gets off leash and darts towards the road. Maybe you open the front door and she decides to dart out that morning. Different scenarios like that where she's going to be excited, her adrenaline's going to be up a bit, and it's going to be harder to get her attention and get her to come back to you, but she could be putting herself into dangerous situations and we need to get her attention. You're going to, instead of the level 30, use level 55 repeatedly until you get her command and until you get her attention and she's coming back towards you with the come command. So again, black S button is level 30, her normal correction level. The red S button is level 55, her boost feature. Then on the opposite side of this remote here is a black T button. This is the vibrate feature. It vibrates on that box to make some sound. I can vibrate it in my hand. Just a little bit of a vibration feeling that can be used on Fireball in the future, but you want to make sure that she's responding really well to you before switching from maybe the black S button to the black T button for her corrections, or even just for warnings to let her know, hey, if you keep doing that unwanted behavior, you're going to get a level 30 correction. So again, black T button, the vibrate feature, I like to use it to just make sure my collar and remote are both on before putting it on Fireball, but can also be used in the future as a warning button. So those are the buttons on the side. On the back here, again, that black L button. And next to that, there's a small M/C button. That changes her collar and remote from momentary to continuous, but that shouldn't need to be changed at all, so you won't need to worry about that button. Then on the top here, you'll see this dial. And you can see right now it is not changing her level any when I am turning it. If you want to change Fireball's level, maybe you get home and 30 seems to be too much for her, maybe she's flinching and she's just back at home in her safe environment and she doesn't need that high of a correction, you can try turning it down to 25. Or if she's at 30 and you get her home and she just is not listening to you guys in the first 2 weeks or so because she's still getting used to listening to you and not just me, maybe she needs turned up to 35. So if you need to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to press and hold that dial down until the number flashes. You saw how easily that number changed to 63. So we're going to put it down back down to her level, which is 30. And then again, if you need to change it, maybe it's too much once she's back home, you can put it down to 25. Or you get home and just 30 does not seem to be working for you. Maybe you take her out in public and she's just very focused on everything else and not you guys. Then you can try changing it to 35 and seeing how she responds to that. But here, and when I took her on her field trips, 30 was a good solid level for her. So I'm gonna change it back to 30, and then I'm gonna lock that in place by pressing and holding it again until your number flashes. Now that number 30 is locked in place with our dial, so we can't accidentally change it, because again, this is very touchy, so just bumping it in the slightest jumps levels a lot, and we don't want to accidentally turn it down too far or turn it up too high for Fireball. So that is how to change that. Then on both her remote and her collar, there are charging ports. So the one on the remote is here on the bottom. The one on her collar is underneath here. You just lift it up. The remote and the collar can be charged both at the same time. The remote's in the box. I'll show you that in just a second. But Fireball's remote collar can be worn, we say usually about 10 to 12 hours a day. Pretty much when you get up with her in the morning, it can be put on her, and then when you put her up maybe in her crate for the evening, it can be taken off of her. So if you do that for about 2 days, it'll need charged at the end of that second day. And it just needs thrown on the charger for a couple of hours. But again, first thing in the morning, it can go on her. Last thing at night, take it off of her. And then it should stay charged for about 2 to 3 days. And then the prong collar, she can wear that anytime she is with you guys. So if she's in the house and you guys are out with her, paying attention to her and keeping an eye on her, she can be wearing the prong collar. If you take her on a walk or anytime you leave the house, again, the prong collar can be on her. But if you're going to leave her alone in the house or maybe put her in a crate for a few hours, I would take that prong collar off of her. That way we make sure it doesn't get caught on anything. So that is more information about those. In her box here, we have the original strap for her remote collar. That is just a buckle. It does not have this little bungee here, and it does not have this snap. So if you want to switch to that one, the regular buckle strap is in here. And then we also have her charger in here. Again, both the remote and the collar can be charged at the same time. And then we also have longer prongs. So on her remote collar, there's these 2 prongs here. There's just some longer ones in a bag here and a little tool to change those if needed. Fireball has pretty short hair and it's not too thick on her neck there, so she shouldn't need those longer prongs. And then underneath this tray here is her instruction manual for the remote collar if you want to read more in depth into it. And then on the back of this box here is a number or email to contact for your 2-year warranty. So that is all of that for her remote collar. It does reach up to half a mile and it is waterproof. So if Fireball likes the water and she wants to go swimming over the summer, maybe you can leave her remote collar on her and keep the remote. You just want to make sure that those charging ports are closed all the way, and then she can wear it while she's in the water. And then once she gets done in the water, make sure to take it off of her and dry her really well. That way there's not water sitting under the prongs pushing on her skin. That way she doesn't have a bacterial buildup and get some sores there. So she can go swimming with it. Just make sure to take it off of her and dry her off really well before putting the collar back on. And then you just want to make sure to practice with Fireball. She knows all of her commands, but it's going to take a lot of practice for her to make sure that she remembers those commands. We say it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for a dog to learn a behavior. So Fireball has learned all of her commands, learns what's expected of her, but now it's going to take about 4 to 6 months for that to become long-term memory for her. So we want to make sure to keep up the practice with Fireball. That doesn't mean you have to cut out 2 or 3 hours of your day to work with Fireball. That just means put it in your routine. So if you want to practice maybe her sit stay while you get her breakfast ready, or practice place while you make dinner, or you watch TV at the end of the night, practice her heel when you take her on walks. Different situations like that where you can make it a part of your day, but still make sure that Fireball is practicing her commands. That way she remembers them and knows what's expected of her. We want to be sure to reward Fireball for her good behaviors. She likes pets, she likes treats some days, but usually she'll always accept pets and she'll accept treats on certain days. She's not always a treat taker, but just find ways to reward Fireball that she likes and gets excited for. So for her recall, you get it really excited for her, welcome her into your space, and give her lots of pets once she's back into your space. If she is on place for a while, maybe let her off place and reward her again with some pets. If she's doing a really good job for healing, use those treats to reward her for being in your space. Different situations like that, but you want to make sure to be rewarding Fireball for doing those good behaviors. That way she's more likely to do them in the future. And then when she does unwanted behaviors, we have both her remote collar and the prong collar to correct her and let her know, hey, these are doing unwanted behaviors. Let's not do it anymore. That way, again, she's less likely to do those in the future. So be sure to reward her when she does good behaviors. Be sure to correct her when she does unwanted behaviors. And make sure to have lots of fun with Fireball. She enjoys her training and she enjoys doing commands. That way she gets praise from you and knows that she's doing a good job. This is just like I go to work to have fun and do a good job. Fireball wants to do her job now so that she can have fun and get rewards from you guys. So make sure to have fun with her and also be consistent in practice with her.